So hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Today, we are making a really great recipe for a hot day. So hopefully you'll be satisfied with this nice summery dish. To introduce myself, my name is Eliza Leone. I am a registered dietitian that works with Restaurant Associates. We do the food service here on the HMS campus. And our chef can introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Rahul. I'm the executive chef for the Courtyard Cafe and the Elements Cafe and the Conference Center, and welcome.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you all here. So if you are cooking along with us, this is your reminder, if you haven't already, to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. We're going to be roasting the corn. Our class today, as I've mentioned, we're going to be making a salad, and this has seared peaches, seared avocado, roasted corn. We've got some pistachio-rolled goat cheese, some cucumber, kale, and a tangy raspberry vinaigrette. And this recipe, as I mentioned, is great for hot days because nothing in it actually needs to be cooked, including the corn. So if you don't want to cook anything because your kitchen is too hot, you don't have to. But because this is a teaching kitchen class and we like to show you cool, fun tricks, we're going to just show you some different ways that you can cook these ingredients to make your food a little bit more interesting and flavorful to enhance your enjoyment of this dish. So we have provided you the recipe, and we always like to say at the top that the recipe is not, you don't have to follow it exactly. You can modify it however you like. If you like more salt and pepper, heavier on the dressing, anything like that, and modify it however you like. And our learning objectives for the class, we've got a couple learning objectives that are based on nutrition. So I'm going to be talking about different ways to make salad into a filling and satisfying meal. And I'm also going to mention a little bit about leafy greens. And you probably saw the handout that came with the recipe. We had some information on there about leafy greens as well. And our culinary learning objectives, Rahul, when he's doing the searing of the peaches and avocado, he's going to be talking about what it means to sear something and what that process is. And he's also, those of you that have been to our classes before, we're doing a lot more of the prep on camera this time because we want to talk about different ways to cut things, chiffonade, chop, what kind of knives you should be using in different moments. So Rahul will be touching on that, but please jump in with any questions throughout the process. So I'm going to pass it over to Rahul to do a little intro and talk about our plan of work, and then we'll get right into it.
Hi, everyone. So as Eliza explained, we have multiple ingredients that are going into this salad, and they will be gradually cooked or processed in a different way. So what do we do in the kitchen is, and we're first time here, that we have a plan of work. So we always see, okay, our goal is to complete this dish by this time. Like if my goal is to complete a dish within an hour, so I look at the ingredients and I see what ingredient is going to take the longest amount of time on process to cook. And one of them is the corn. So we're going to work on the corn first, and we're going to get the corn going in the oven. And as gradually as we move ahead during the recipe, as Eliza recited all the ingredients that we're using, we're going to process them one by one, and then we continue from there. Okay, so first what we're going to do is corn. We're going to take the corn, and we're going to see two ways how we're going to do it. Is, of course, everybody wants to peel the corn first and then cook it or grill it or however you want. But I just took a farmer's market corn, and these all ingredients should be available throughout in the farmer's market and in all the supermarkets as well. So you're going to do two ways. One, I want to cook it in the husk. Okay, so corn could be done many different ways, and one of the ways that people do not do it very much, usually they grill it or however they want to do it. But one of the processes that you cook the corn inside the husk. So what happens is that all the steam that is being built inside, it keeps the corn moist. It doesn't get dry, and it is like more starchy, and it is more sweeter. I mean, like it tastes almost the same, but the appearance is very, very different. It is almost looking like a boiled corn if you boil the corn, okay? Because it is basically smothering in its own steam inside. And then the other process we're going to do, we're going to see how we easily cut it, peel it, and then take the silk off, and we're going to just put a little salt, pepper, oil on that, little olive oil, salt and pepper, and we're going to roast it in the oven. And this process is going to take the longest time. That's why we're starting it first, so we can be ready at the same time with all the ingredients. So we cut the ends. The easiest way to go is take the end off. Then you take the stem end. Once you take the stem end off, you will just go here and peel it. Take the husk out. Now this husk is very useful in many different cuisines, and it is everything has a use to it. And the silk, which is not dry, I mean like the silk, this has been used in restaurants for garnishing or pickling, and it is also edible. Okay, and it is a very garnishable thing. People fry it and put it on top of the salad or any of the corn dish. Corn is such a versatile ingredient because it is used practically in every shape, size, and form in all the cuisines, because it is one of the highly used grains besides rice and wheat. Okay, so and it is for like from feeding of it's very so versatile that for feeding of animals onwards to birds to human beings and all the different cuisines. So this husk could be saved if you're making something like a tamale or something or a stock. But I'm going to keep it for later use, and then I'm going to keep it on the side. So this my corn is clean, and the other way to do it is you take it and you rub. So all the silk.
That's a good trick to get the silk off.
Yeah, it takes the silk out. Okay. Then this one we're gonna just leave it how it is and cook it the same way. So this is gonna go in the oven now. So here is the first corn, the second corn. The first one, let it is olive oil on top. Little smear of olive oil all over. So all the oil helps to two ways to make the seasoning stick to it, and also let it have some color when it is going to go in the oven. So who is cooking with us? I'm sure you have turned your oven on at 350 degrees.
意外なそうし俺とかさはい I'm gonna mute them.
Okay, so this
Rahul mentioned this before as he was taking the husk off, but he said that this is a versatile grain. So corn is a whole grain. Oftentimes, add myself back in. Oftentimes corn is lumped together with other vegetables, you know, but we've got a lot of like surprising fruits and grains and things in this salad. For example, avocado and cucumber are technically, botanically fruit, not vegetables. And corn is a grain. So we've got, you know, a variety of ingredients here. And a part of what makes a well-rounded salad, a well-rounded meal in general, and those who have been here before will have heard me say this, but you like to have as many food groups as you can. So we've got our whole grains, that starchy food group with our corn.
All right, so now, since the corn is cooking, we're going to look on to the next step is that we're going to prepare kale. So now, many greens, all the greens are great. Many greens they can have as a salad. But we want to emphasize on using the Tuscan kale, which is like mostly not used by many people because they see and everybody thinks like, oh, I don't know how it's going to taste like, what it's going to look like, or how we process it, it will be right or wrong or not good. So this is a very beautiful and very nutritious greens that could be utilized for cooking hot or could be used in salad. So we'll see how we're going to clean it. So this you must have seen, they are sold in bunches like this in the supermarket. So we're going to take like 2 or 3 leaves because just one portion, and we're going to see how we clean it. So here is the rib, the main stem, and this is the leaf. We're going to go start tearing it apart from both sides.
So this Tuscan kale, also called dinosaur kale, also called lacinato kale. This is my favorite kind of kale. I feel like you don't see this as often as you see the curly kale, but this kind I feel is so much more approachable when you're eating it raw in a salad because it's physically like easier to eat. The curly kale just like takes up so much space, but this lacinato kale or Tuscan kale, it lays flat. It's got little bumps, you know, but it's not like, it doesn't take up as much space as the curly kale does. And it's also not as tough as curly kale.
And as you may see that it is a very nice texture as well to it. So you can either use them broken like this in the salad. There's another way to use it is break them down in a salad like this. So it looks like some bumpy blistered blistered leaves, like that. So this is one of the way to do it. And then the other way today, what we're going to do is we're going to julienne this, and also not forgetting about the stems. This stem could be chopped and could be turned into a pesto or a puree that we use. Actually, in our cafe, we had a salad today with the salmon, and it had the kale pesto on that, and it was from the stems. Okay, so this is we use it. Okay, now we're going to bundle up all this thing together, like in a bunch, and we have to be careful that we will be handling hot items, and so we have a bunch of towels handy, and we will be cutting with knives. So we have to be super careful that we do not want to have any stuff that we don't need around, first of all, and to avoid accidents. So we're going to just julienne this, and after julienning, what we're going to do is we're going to marinate this. So marinating this is very important, because if you go and eat it right now, yes, it is edible, but it is a little chewy. Okay. But once we put a little bit of some other medium into it, it starts getting softer, and it is wilted basically, and it is much more palatable in that way. So here this is julienne, and we want to cut it not long strands. We want to make it like a spoon or fork friendly. Okay. So once this is cut like this, we're going to put into a bowl. Okay. And after that, we put little bit lemon juice on this. Okay, very little bit lemon juice. But the trick is here, that we massage it. Okay, so massaging is very important, because all the total surface area of the lettuce, the kale lettuce leaf, has to be completely covered with it, so that the acids start working on it and then start breaking it down. So the structure of the leaf is going to get like broken down, and it's going to a little bit sit down, and it's going to be easy to ingest. Okay, and also lemon juice will provide a nice tangy taste to it, and this is it. So I'm going to leave this aside, and this is why we are doing this step after the corn, because it has to sit. So we don't want to wait for it to be the last moment. We have already done it, so it is sitting. So as you see, step 1, step 2, and the plan of work is coming together. Okay, so this goes on the side. Now next is we're going to do our one other ingredient here is the goat cheese, and we wanted to put a crunch in this. So any kind of cheese could work with this salad, and the cheese we chose to use is goat cheese, because again, goat cheese, everybody, it's not a very hard to find thing, and everybody can have it. And then we're going to make the goat cheese, and we're going to form it into balls. Okay, and to form it into the balls, and then we're gonna roll it in chopped pistachio. So if you have anybody with a nut allergy, as you know, so you can completely avoid it, and maybe you can roll it into, if you want some crunch, you can use sunflower seed, chia seeds, or maybe even Rice Krispies that could be used for rolling this, just to add a crunch part of thing to the thing. So now here I have got pistachio. I chose pistachio. It could be any nut, so you can do it without it. And then after that, I'm going to chop it up. Pretty simple. Is people who are preparing with me, are you all caught up? So just wait.
Everyone doing okay right now? Those that are cooking along? Yeah, seems to be. Okay, good.
Okay. So now we're going to go and chop very carefully. We're going to chop the nuts, pistachios. Okay, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to mince it. Mince it means we are going over and over with the knife, such that the pieces are smaller. So why do we need the pieces to be smaller? Because we are not putting any binding agent or anything to adhere it to, not like anything like a glue to stick it to the goat cheese, but goat cheese by its own texture will attach to this chopped up nuts, and you will see how it is going to be really nice. So
so the smaller the nuts are chopped, the easier they will stick to the goat cheese. And the way we're sticking them to the goat cheese just because it's like a nice little fancy thing. But if you don't feel like doing that, you don't have to. You could just do some pieces of goat cheese and sprinkle it with the chopped pistachios, or even the whole pistachios at the end. But like I mentioned at the top, we're just showing some fun different ways to make your salad more exciting.
Yeah. So so this is why we're doing a different approach to this, that we're going to cook the peaches and we're going to cook the avocados, which usually we don't do it. So what we want to make the class to be fun and also educational, and not only be nutritionally correct, but it has to be educational as well, and also a little bit of a glimpse of restaurant kind of food, so that we can bring it home.
Right, exactly. So while he's chopping that, so it's so important for, you know, of course, everyone thinks of salads as a healthy meal, and typically they are, and they can be, because there are so many fruits and vegetables in them. But it's important to make sure that you're not just eating salad because you feel like you have to for your health. You know, we all want to enjoy our food. So by making it, you know, more colorful, like adding as many textures as possible, adding as many food groups as possible, as I mentioned, you're going to make it more interesting, more pretty to look at. You're going to make it more filling and satisfying. So you want all of those things when you're making any kind of meal. And that includes making a salad into an entree, like your full meal.
So we're going to, what we're going to do, we're going to take our cheese and form like a third of an ounce size of a small marble, roll it up and leave it aside. So it is like kind of oval shape. Then
yeah, so we're rolling that goat cheese up. It's smaller than a golf ball, smaller than a ping pong ball. You know, it's like
third of an ounce.
I don't know, maybe a $50, smaller than that, you know, diameter. But of course, that's up to you. These are roughly a third of an ounce. So if you were following the recipe, then that's about the size it would be. But if you wanted to make them bigger or smaller, then that's totally up to you.
Now we're gonna roll it, okay?
So the goat cheese and the pistachios are two very important ingredients in this salad because they provide some of the more filling nutrients, protein and fat. So you'll see that Rahul is just rolling the cheese around very carefully because the goat cheese is very soft. So he's just pressing the pistachios into the goat cheese there. And of course, if you were making this for somebody who has a nut allergy of any kind, you could use chia seeds or, you know, chopped sunflower seeds or flax seeds, something like that instead of nuts. But this is a great way to make this salad, you know, filling, satisfying. And the pistachios add a good crunchy texture and the goat cheese adds a really good creamy texture.
So here is our roll goat cheese. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna put it aside.
Super good.
And if everybody is caught up, who's cooking with us, we can move to the next step. Okay.
If anybody needs us to slow down, just wave at me. I can see your cameras. Everyone seems okay. Oh, Slavko needs us to a little bit, slow down a little. Okay. So our next step is the vinaigrette, but I can talk about dressing for a bit while Rahul gathers the ingredients. Yes. So of course, dressing is a really important part of a salad because it brings everything together. But also for people that are eating salads for health reasons, I feel like they can, you know, be steered away from creamy dressings, or they're worried about how much dressing you use. However, if you are eating this big bowl full of fruits and veggies and grains and nuts and delicious things, if adding extra dressing is what makes you eat all of those delicious plants, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I know that some salad dressings can be very heavy and very full of saturated fat, as there was a question in the chat earlier about the fat content and all the sugar that can be added to dressings, especially if you buy them in a store versus make them at home. But we want to show you just how easy it is to make a dressing yourself, because then you have full control of what goes into it. And there's no added sugar, only natural sugar present. And we've got, you know, just heart healthy unsaturated fats in this dressing. So the only thing to be aware of is that when you add a lot of dressing to your salad, it can become, you can be overly full because fat is very nutrient dense. So the more fat you add to your dish, the more full and possibly over full you can get. So if you do like a heavily dressed salad, just pay a little bit more attention while you're eating it to make sure, if you're feeling full, but there's still salad in the bowl, you don't have to finish it. Just pay attention to, what your body is telling you. But there's nothing wrong with adding lots of dressing if that's what helps you to eat more fruits and veggies. So I'm going to pass it over to Rahul now. He's going to make this dressing.
Okay, so now here we're going to do is we're going to take raspberries, and you can pretty much repeat this with any other berries if you want, or any other kind of dressing you might like to do. So we're going to just do a quick dressing, and this is always our goal, to show the things to be made from scratch and the simple steps to do that. Okay, so here I have my knife, and I'm going to go and chop it. Okay, so I'm going to chop these berries.
So raspberries are so soft, so you don't need to chop them, but you would just end up with bigger pieces of raspberries in the end. If you did this with other berries, you probably would need to definitely chop them because other berries are not as soft as raspberries. And raspberries taste different than blueberries, for example. Raspberries are more tart. So if you're using blueberries, then you may want to add a little bit more of the acid in your dressing. So we always encourage everyone as you go to taste what you're making. So you can modify it based on your own taste preferences. And everything in this recipe, as I mentioned at the start, everything in this recipe is safe to eat as is. So you don't need to worry about tasting something that needs to be cooked. Nothing in this recipe actually needs to be cooked. So you can taste along the way.
So I'm going to put like a tablespoon worth of sherry vinegar in there, a tablespoon and little over. Okay, this much sherry vinegar. And the vinegar is very important to go in any dressing because, of course, of the sour taste and the tangy taste it provides. But it also balances off other of the ingredients that are going to accompany it. And after that, also makes the food very palatable. Okay, very palatable. It has been always believed like if anything tastes a little sour, it helps to your taste buds to be like refreshed and not to feel, and you also do not feel very filled up when you eat it. That's very important part of it. Now you're going to put the Dijon mustard in there, and Dijon mustard is for the tanginess and for its own taste and little spiciness that it brings to the dressing. And also the Dijon mustard is a binder. It's a very universal binder that is used in making most of the dressings. Okay.
So we've got a question about the dressing, the amounts of the ingredients. So we did roughly about 2/3 of a cup of raspberries chopped.
Yeah, 2/3 of raspberry.
A bit more than a tablespoon of sherry vinegar, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, half a teaspoon of Dijon, and then salt and pepper to taste.
Yeah.
So
now we go here, and then I have one.
Like you can see, the Rahul is not like a science. This is not really a science. It's just what tastes good to you.
Yeah, what tastes good to you. It is not baking a cake, because in the cake, if you do not measure right, your product is not going to come out properly. Right. So
and also you see how thick this dressing is too. So if you want it to be, then you can add more oil, more vinegar, a bit of water maybe.
And then also salt and pepper, very important. Do not forget that. Salt and pepper brings it up. Yeah, so salt. So now here you have the tanginess from the raspberries. You have the subtle taste from the olive oil. You have the vinegar doing its job to make it more acidic. And then you have salt and pepper, and of course Dijon mustard to give a little bit of heat to that. Okay, and salt and pepper. So all these things, like they all come together like a symphony for your taste buds. And that's what makes all the dressings, and it's so palatable. And later on, as we're going to build our dishes, you will see how you will imagine how they will go real well in a perfect harmony with the other ingredients that we're going to do. Okay, so now this dressing is done. I put it away, and now just a reminder that we have our corn cooking in the oven. We have our kale getting marinated and sitting down, breaking down. And then our dressing is ready. Our goat cheese is rolled up. Now the next ingredients is what we're going to do is we start some cooking. Okay. So now peaches, as we know, these are like little small, but you can get large peaches too. And it is the perfect time. It is the apex time for having peaches. The stone fruits are coming from now on till next 2 months or 3. It will be available everywhere. And it is going to be very nice, but we want to use a little bit firm peaches. So the peaches are like another ingredient, just like corn. It is utilized in making so many desserts and so many savory dishes, pies and ice creams and you name what, compotes and jams and jellies and everything. So it is a very meaty stone fruit. And so what we're going to do is like, we're going to cut it, and as you know, the simple drill to take the pit out of it is like the pit is facing this way where the ridge is. So you're going to cut across here, you see, right here, and then you roll your knife. And then
so you're cutting perpendicular to the seam that you see.
So see, so the seam is right here. Each one have them a seam, and then you're gonna go like 90 degrees off the seam, like other side diagonally, and then after that you cut it. So it comes up like this, and this way, what happens? This peaches at its prime peak of ripeness, so it leaves the pit so easy. Okay. And
can you show, Rahul, before you remove that, can you show sideways against the camera so we can see how the pit is sticking out sideways?
Okay. So the pit is like,
it was.
I'm gonna cut the other one. Okay, now. So see, we see the ridge over here, right? This is the ridge. Right?
Yep, so there's the ridge in the peach.
And then we go right, like make a T with the ridge, you know. So you take your knife, and this is the ridge, and you're going diagonally, okay? Right? This is the ridge. And then we're gonna go over here, roll it.
The reason for doing this is just to make the pit easier to take out. So
and then when we open it
the other way, that's okay.
And when we open it, you see the pit is standing, you know, like it's outside. And that gives us an edge to get a grip and pull it out, okay? Yeah, so this is out. And the pit is taken out and composted. And then these are 2 peaches that are ready. And then after that, we're going to work with avocado as well. So now peach are so, as I said, it has been used so much in the classic cooking, like great desserts like peach melba and many other desserts. And it also goes really well with meats like pork and some poultries. It goes real well with it. But the way to cook it is like different for the different applications. So what we're trying to do today is we're gonna saute it in the pan, and that is the main approach to that. And then when you saute it, you will see what the flavors may change by itself, and you will have a new direction in the flavor, what is going for. And also this could be marinated with different items, like it goes really well with honey. It could be marinated with honey or some spices. It can go with the pumpkin spice mix, works really well for the peaches because they are sweet. And that spice mix really works well on this, and you will see a complete different taste of it after cooking them. And it's just not a hand fruit that you just buy and eat it as a hand fruit, as a fresh fruit, but it has many applications of cooking it too. So now I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna plug in my induction cooker.
Our friends that are cooking along at home, are you all ready to use your pan on a stovetop? We can grab a nonstick pan if you have it. All right, good. A nonstick pan is best. And we're gonna be heating this on high heat. That's one of the important steps about searing something. And if you have canola oil or vegetable oil, those are the best because they are neutral oils. They don't add flavor to the peaches, and they also have a high smoke point. So that means they can withstand that high heat in the pan.
Yes. So as we said, as Eliza said, like olive oil, as we see, olive oil is good for cold use and little warm use, but you do not superheat it, definitely not to the smoking point. And it's not a good oil to saute with or sear with. That's why most of the kitchen and everywhere they prefer to have vegetable oil. or have to have canola oil or grapeseed oil, and but any oil that is high smoke point and no flavor, the least amount of flavor. So it is just doing the job of searing it, helping it to sear, but caramelization, but it is not doing any further damage to the flavor. So to keep it simple. So here we go. I have my oil.
Canola oil is going to be a lighter color oil than olive oil. Canola, yeah, canola is like a light yellow color. We had a question about which one is which in the ingredients box.
So the light one is the canola.
Yep.
The greener one will be your finishing oil.
You can also smell them too. Olive oil has usually a stronger scent. Canola oil doesn't really have much of a smell. So you could also, we've cut the peaches in half, but if you'd like to cut them in wedges, you could do that as well. But cutting them in half just makes it easier for us to sear them in bigger pieces. But if you would like them to be smaller, then that's an easy option.
Yeah, so this point, what we're going to do, we're not going to rush into it. We're going to let the pan get really hot and then going to start searing them, okay? This time we will need a tong. And
so yeah, you definitely want the pan to be nice and hot before you start. You want to, when you put the peach in there, you want to hear it sizzle. So if you have a pair of tongs handy, that's going to be the best way to flip those. And just be very careful with the hot oil so it doesn't like sputter and splatter on you.
So my induction cooker takes a little longer to heat up because it gradually heats up. If you have a gas stove or you have a range in the house, it's going to be very different than this. So you should be already ready.
We're going to do this same process for the peaches and the avocado. So you'll see that ideally we would have some underripe peaches and underripe avocados, so they're nice and firm, which means they're easier to manipulate. Yeah, it's not like switching juice all over the place. Yeah.
It's not going much. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. Now, so our pan is almost coming to the smoking point.
So we also had on the handout that was included with the recipe, there was some information about cooked fruit and about how it really develops the flavor of the fruit. Fruit is already sweet, as we know, but when you caramelize it and when you get it kind of charred, it's like you're getting multiple flavors in one dish. So now you'll see Rahul just put the peaches in there and the oil is getting all bubbly around it. So you can go ahead and put the peaches cut side down, so inside facing down. And we're just gonna leave those for a while. We're gonna leave them for a little bit, toss your oil around to make sure they are fully coated with oil. And we're just gonna leave them and not flip them for just like a couple minutes.
Yeah, so here is when the heat, as you see in my pan, as the heat start working, gradually the heat is rising from the bottom. And as you can see, here, so gradually the heat is rising from the bottom. So the first part, what is in contact with the pan, and since it is a non-stick pan and there is oil, it is going to caramelize. And when it caramelizes, that time the natural sugars are caramelizing as well along with it. So it gives you like a caramelized taste to it and a very different look, and which is very appetizing. You see, anytime you see something like very nicely caramelized, it is automatically it is appetizing. The view and the look is already appetizing. So that's what we're trying to do. And then we're going to flip it over such that, remember, we have chosen to have firm peaches. Firm peach are likely to have a bite to it. All right. But this heat that we are cooking, and that was the reason we chose the firm peaches, that when we going to saute them, this heat is going to work to it and it is going to just bring it right where you will be able to cut with a knife easily and have and enjoy it. Okay. So here.
So yeah, we still haven't flipped them yet. You can check depending on your stovetop. Might be hotter than ours. And no harm done if you flip it and it's not fully seared on the other side. That's okay. You can flip it.
So why we're not flipping it is we're letting the heat rise. We want the heat to rise inside. You see my pan is smoking now, so the heat is rising. Because it is up to a very hot point. Then we're gonna see.
And cooking like this, doing a sear, this is something that's also done with like meat and fish. And when you do it with animal products, it's very important to make sure you leave it and let the heat rise, because those have to be cooked fully. Peaches don't need to be cooked fully. So there's no worries if it's not, you know, fully softened, that's okay. But when you're cooking meat or fish, you definitely need to make sure you let it sit there for long enough that that the heat rises through and cooks it all the way through.
Now I'm gonna flip them over to see the color here.
Okay, so time to flip if you haven't already. Yeah, it's got some nice char underneath. That looks great.
All right, so now what we're gonna do is again the same thing. We're gonna flip the oil around and let it sit for a minute, okay, like this. So actually, we're gonna let it run for another minute, and then we're gonna put the whole pan aside. So although it is not on a heat, but the pan is still radiating the heat, and the process is still going on until we are ready. And remember, we are doing this now, and we're gonna do the avocados after this. But it will be really great if you can have this done and you leave them in the refrigerator to chill them, and then you put on your salad. That will be perfect. You know? So that will be thing. Or you can just have them just how they are. Okay? So now you see, I'm going to saute it a bit.
I think it actually makes a salad a bit more interesting when you have not just cold ingredients. If you have something hot on there or warm, it just adds more variety, you know.
Okay, so now we're going to put this pan away and we're going to start with avocado, okay?
So if you have another nonstick pan, then we can use a different one for the avocado, so the peaches can still sit there and still cook a bit longer in the hot pan. If you only have the one pan, that's okay. The peaches will still be delicious. But we're going to do that same process now with avocado. So you can just shut off the heat for the peaches and move it to the side. Yeah, Natasha loves different textures too. I think, like, I mean, Natasha has heard me talk about this in every class, but different colors, different textures, different, you know, temperatures, any and every kind of variety that you can include in a dish just makes it more interesting and makes you enjoy it more. And that is truly the point of our classes that we do, is that we want to show you how to make healthy, plant-forward meals that are really, really flavorful and delicious and enjoyable. And you'll see the way Rahul will plate this up at the end. It's very important. We love having a pretty plate. So make sure that when you plate it at home, that you make it look nice and pretty, nice and appetizing before you eat it. That really adds to the enjoyment. You know, they say we eat with our eyes, and that's definitely true.
And now here I am adding canola oil, exactly same as what we did with the peaches, and I let it come to a hot point. Okay, at the same time, I think my corn should be coming very close. Once we're done with this, we have to do the cucumbers, and then I'm going to do the corn, and then after I'm going to peel the corn, and then after we finish it off. Okay.
Yep.
We are almost.
Yeah, Rahul can also show you how to cut up the avocado as well.
Yes, I'm going to do it right now.
They're very, they can be kind of finicky, you know, and you never really know when you're cutting into an avocado what you're going to get. So
yeah, go ahead. So avocado,
yeah,
you can buy a regular avocado which is firm. Again, firm is the word, and it should not be like a rock solid. You know, it should not be as hard that you cannot even cut it. You know, it should be firm but ripe. Okay, firm and ripe, and then we go twist it, and then we take 1/2 off, right, and then we're gonna go here and hit it with a knife and turn it around so the pit comes off like how it is stuck on my knife.
Yep. And then if that's a little bit scary to you, which it is to me, to chop the pit with all the avocados in your hand, you can instead use a smaller knife and just cut around the pit and kind of pry it out.
Okay, so now we're going to take the flesh out, like in a perfect cup form, pushing the.
Yep, you can use a nice big spoon if you have one, like a serving size spoon, and scoop it out of the avocado skin.
And our avocado is like nicely clean here.
Yep.
Yeah. Now we're going to do 3 wedges from this, and that is the 3 wedges that we're going to use on our salad. That is the portion. Okay, so it's going to be 1/2 avocado per portion.
So yeah, we are cutting this into wedges, but if you wanted to leave it as a half, you can do that. If you wanted to slice it, you can do that. But just know the smaller the pieces are of the avocado, the more likely it will be that it'll get kind of like mushed up in the manipulation process in the pan, you know? So if it's bigger pieces, then it's easier for you to flip it with the tongs.
So now my avocado is clean.
A softer avocado, if your avocado is pretty soft, then you'll want to keep it in bigger pieces.
Okay, so now I'm going to lay it down on one side first, carefully. So you must not be, many people have not worked with cooking an avocado, but it cooks so perfect. All you need is you have to have the perfect doneness, I mean like the rightness on that. Okay, so here, because avocado is used in many hot dishes. One of them is like a fried avocado, breaded avocado, and also bacon wrap avocado, and those kind of dishes. Okay, so it is very important item in the kitchen.
And of course, avocado is a really oh, we had a question. Sorry. Are the brown parts inside the avocado fine? They might just taste a little bit off. So if you wanted to use the spoon and just scoop off the brown parts, then that would be totally fine. You might not have like perfect wedges if you had to scoop off a decent size brown spot. That's totally fine. But avocados add such a great creamy texture to this salad. And also they add an additional source of unsaturated fats. So another ingredient in this salad that's going to make this nice and filling and satisfying.
You see already the color of the wedges is coming up real nice, and my oven is ready. So I'm just going to pick the corn out. Okay. I'll be back.
So yeah, if your corn has if your oven has beeped, then go ahead and check on it. But the corn inside the husk is going to stay a lot more moist. Like Rahul said, it'll be steamed inside, but the corn that's outside the husk, that could cook a bit faster. So it would be a good time to check on that corn and see how it's doing. If it looks like it's pretty brown, then you can go ahead and take it out and let it cool off for a bit before you slice it off the cob. It looks like Rahul's is good to go. That's great.
So right here, this is how our corn looking like. Okay, the one in the husk and one without. Yeah. I'm gonna just leave it for a second, let it cool down a little bit, so we can handle it. All right, and then we're gonna still look at avocado, how we are doing.
Yeah, the avocado, you want to flip it to all three sides of the wedge if you can. And you'll see, hopefully yours at home are looking like Rahul's. They're nice and browned. And it's so, avocados are such a cool food because they stay so creamy and soft on the inside. They'll get warmed up, but they're not going to like crisp up on the inside. They stay, that fat content really keeps them creamy.
So now our avocado is done. Now we're going to do a little garnish on there. We want some freshness and the texture of cucumber on our salad. So while this is continuing, I'm going to shut this off and I will still do the same trick. I'll leave the pan over there.
So the avocado should be good. If you've seared all three sides, then you can eat as well. So our peaches are sitting in the pan or sitting off to the side, and those are waiting for us. The avocado is now waiting for us, and the corn should be good and out of the oven and waiting to be cut. So before we cut the corn and plate everything up, Rahul is just gonna show a fun trick with cucumbers.
So now you see, again, we go back, we started first with the corn. So now you see how gradually our process is coming through to finish the dish. Our corn is ready. It's just waiting to cool down a little bit, and we're gonna just chuck it. And then what we're gonna do now is just do some cucumber, and then we are almost good to go. So cucumber, I mean, there are many fancy ways to do it, but the one I prefer and I like to do is like you take a peeler, right? And you take the first layer off, okay? And then you do the second layer.
You see the peeler that Rahul has, or there's also
a Y peeler.
Is a little bit easier, a little bit more like ergonomic.
So you have a ribbon, okay? And again, cucumber is the only, like you only throw the little bit of the ends away, right? And just a little bit of the ends, and otherwise the entire cucumber is edible. Okay. So we're gonna go here and roll it. Okay. And we try to form.
Yeah, it's fun to use the peeler and make a ribbon, and you can just leave the ribbons as they are and kind of weave them into your salad as like a long thin cucumber strip. Or you can make these cucumber candles, as Rahul calls them. They're like a little fancy decoration.
It's right here. You know? So I just rolled it up.
Turn it sideways so we can see.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
It's hard
so
to navigate
this is like a Christmas tree, you know.
Yeah, it's like a little pointy cucumber thing.
Cucumber candle.
Yeah, okay. We got it at home too.
Yeah. Perfect. So then after that, you roll it up a little tight and you just pinch it. You have to do a little bit, okay? So it stays in spot. That's it. It's ready to go. Then we have, we're going to do one more.
Of course, you could just slice cucumber, like
yeah, you can slice cucumber.
You typically see in a salad.
As we said, in this process, we do not always try to do something little fancy.
Yeah.
Just to add, why not? You know.
Exactly.
We are doing it already. So.
And cucumbers also add a nice crunch too, like a nice refreshing crunch. So when you have them in the rolled up candle form, it's like you get a nice big crunch when you bite into it.
So this one, this way.
Also, something that's really important to think about with salads, especially in the summertime, is when you eat all these fruits and vegetables, especially when they're fresh or when they have a lot of juices, you're also hydrating yourself, not just because there's a lot of water content in these things, but also because of the electrolytes that are found in these fruits and veggies. So you're getting, oh yeah, there's another beautiful little cucumber candle. So you're getting a lot of like potassium and you're getting sodium in here, you're getting magnesium, you know, you're getting all that fun stuff, calcium from the goat cheese. So you're getting a lot of electrolytes and a lot of fluid from these ingredients in this salad. So
now
nice,
you see,
refreshing, and it's hydrating.
Yep. Now you see the corn is ready. It has got a nice color to it. And it is like a little bit of dehydrated because of the heat in the oven. But now we're going to look at the exactly opposite side. Both are edible. Both almost taste same. Okay. And then we're going to go first.
Yeah, this is super cool to see. Wait till you see the difference between what these two ears of corn look like. When we were testing this recipe, we said, how should we make it? This way or this way? And we were like, oh, let's do both because it's cool.
So when you peel it, the silk comes with the peel by itself. That you will see one thing. And again, the husk, as it works on making a tamale. Now, tamale is made in this husk. And then this goes here.
Be very careful with the heat of this. Rahul's hands don't burn anymore at this point in his career. So just be careful at home.
Yeah, so, and then this is all clean. So it almost looks like a boiled corn. And
can you hold them both up to the camera?
Yeah, sure.
To see the difference. So the one that was roasted without the husk is definitely more hydrated or dehydrated. You can see all the spaces in between the kernels, whereas the one that was in the husk is super plump, really juicy. So they're both equally cooked. You know, it's just a matter of what you prefer.
So now, if everybody has reached this point, we're gonna go and take the kernels off. So you hold your corn like this on the thicker side at the bottom, and then you just go as close to the center, as close to the cob, and here you go. So this is peeled like this, okay? Right? Now we're gonna go and continue this to the next side.
Probably with the corn that was steamed inside the husk, I bet during this cutting process, it'll be like more like sheets of corn because the kernels won't be so dried up like they are when they're roasted. But also like roasting corn develops the flavor in a different way. So it makes it, you know, again, it adds an interesting texture. It gives that charred flavor. So you can't go wrong either way.
And this is the best time to use the corn. And there are many, many simple dishes that you can make. Of course, corn is so versatile, as I said. I really like to make, during the summer, I like to make at least once a very real nice sweet corn risotto. and it tastes awesome. And it's like all summer flavors in that, and sweet corn risotto goes really, really well. Now this, if you're doing a lot of it, like if you're making a risotto, so what I do, I take this cob and I boil them and I make a stock out of it, and I use that stock, and I also put some of the husk in there, and I boil all together, so it get like a real corn aroma. It's become like a corn tea, and then I use that to make my risotto with that. Okay, so it's always a use, right? Now this corn sits here, and we're going to do the second one now. Okay.
So while Rahul is cutting the corn off the other cob, I'll talk a bit more about how to make a salad satisfying. So, and you'll see that he's cutting this a slightly different way as well. So you can do whichever way is easier for you.
So now here, why I did it like this, because I want to get on my plate, I want to put corn like this. Okay.
Yeah, like a whole sheet.
So a whole sheet. So this is what the restaurants do. Okay.
Yep.
So they do a whole sheet, and like I'm going to put rest it here.
So yeah, when you're making any kind of entree salad or like a salad as a meal, you always want to be sure to have aim for all of the food groups if you can. So that's vegetables, fruits, whole grains, protein, and healthy oils, which we have all of those in this dish. Our protein, again, is from goat cheese and pistachios, and there's a little bit of protein in all of these ingredients. We've got corn as our whole grain. With fruit, we have peaches, raspberries, and as I mentioned earlier, avocado and cucumber are technically fruits. And we've got kale as our vegetable. But I also wanted to talk about, I feel like part of why sometimes people don't like salad is because it's just a whole big bowl of lettuce and it's kind of boring. But if you're not very into the lettuce or the leafy greens, you don't have to use those. You could just use all the other ingredients instead. You know, you can just use all kinds of fruits and veggies and, you know, avocado and nuts and cheeses and fun stuff like that, like a really good dressing. You don't need lettuce if you're not really into that kind of thing. Or you could just add a little bit just for like the health benefit of a dark leafy green and bulk it up with all the other really delicious ingredients like we've done here.
So once you guys finish cutting the corn, we can start plating, and then you guys can enjoy the salad. So yeah. I'll just wait for.
I think it looks like Shogo and family are working in a pan still. So the others, are you good to go with plating?
Nice. Yeah.
The corn is cut off.
Good to go.
Good to go. Okay.
So I bought my lettuce back, my kale back, and it's already wilted. I'm gonna just season it a little bit. Okay. Little bit of this and little bit of a touch of olive oil. Always does a good job here. This is the perfect use of olive oil.
Yep.
And then
so if you want to add some salt and pepper and olive oil to the kale that already has the lemon juice, you can do that. It doesn't need those things. Just
it is ready to go.
Sure.
So I just put that up. Then after that, change my color and we start with the meat plate. So we're gonna do a small plate here, so it is like elegant. And again, as we said, that the peach we can cut it into smaller size if we want, or if we want to do that. And so first we will go with our dressing. See, so this is the very important part of plan of work. So when you're cooking something at home, what you do, yes, you want to do everything. Yes, everybody wants to do everything. But what you do, you line it up first. You sit down, you take a piece of paper and write down. Okay, so I want to put this ingredient, this, and then you determine which is going to take a longer time in that list, and you put one in front of that. Then you go to the next item that's going to take the longest time. You put two into that, and that becomes your plan of work. Okay, pretty simple. That's how we do it in professional kitchens. Okay, such that we're ready on time.
Yeah, yeah. When Chef Rahul, you know, does weddings for 500 people or something like that, he has to really make a good plan of work and make sure that everything comes out at the exact right time. So he's going to show like a little fancier way of plating it up with the dressing on the plate first, kind of smeared along the bottom. Just an example of how you can plate this up, but you don't have to do it this way. If you prefer to toss all of your ingredients together, then that's
enough ample amount of dressing. Right. Then after that, we go with the peaches, okay? And on our greens first. So we're gonna do our lettuce a little bit. again, as per the proportion of the plate, we are making this portion, but you can see how you more wanna have it done at your home. Okay. Now, go with it. So this is the base of the salad, right? And then,
yep,
we're gonna put our.
Here, I'm gonna share, remove this, and I'll remove this so you can see the plate up close while he's plating it.
So then, see, my peach was sitting into the pan, and you see how the heat was traveling through it. You see it become real nice and soft. You know, you see.
Yeah.
That was the carryover. You know, and then we're gonna of course take the peach and sit it one side, looking at us. Okay, and then we can do two portions of 2 peaches or 1 peaches, or so for the plate is small, and the portion size what we wrote in the recipe has got 2 halves. But for this plate, I'm gonna put 1 half only. Okay, so such that it does not overcrowd the plate, and it does not look like a bunch of stuff sitting on a plate, you know, just randomly put together. Okay, then we have our avocados.
So once we're putting this all on the plate too, we'll finally be able to appreciate like all the different colors, all the different textures on there.
Right opposite to that will be the avocados. Then we go take one of the candles, then we come sit right here. Okay, and we just try to just make things work here. Okay, then we have goat cheese. We had made 3 balls, but for this much amount of thing, I will just try to put 1 in the portion here, right in front. It is a contrast to the shapes, right? Then after that, we have our corn. So we're going to celebrate our corn right over here. So it is get again a contrast on top here. These are roasted corn, and then kale, goat cheese, vinaigrette we have, peaches we have, corn we have, and then I'm going to take my small knife and let's see if we can. Yes. It's on top here. Right.
So like he said, this is a small plate that he's plating on, so he's just doing a smaller portion, but of course, serve yourself whatever portion you prefer.
Right. This is our corn, and cucumber is there, avocado is there, and this is pretty much our dish. And then we're going to do a little bit of olive oil to drizzle on top. Very light, little olive oil.
We always like to drizzle with olive oil at the end. Like in the same way that adding acidity to your food makes it feel light and fresh, olive oil kind of does the same.
Yeah, so it is always called a finishing oil, you know?
Right.
So you finish with the oil and you just tidy up a little bit and just touch little salt on top so it says there's been
a little bit of salt and pepper if you want to add.
Yeah. Okay, and this is our salad. So you can see right here. We get a good view.
Yeah, you can see like the cucumber candles standing up there.
This is our salad look like. Okay, so now if you have some people coming to have dinner in your house, and if you make this, it will be like, wow, it is like it is like from a restaurant from Newberry Street, you know.
Exactly. So now you know some cool tricks to.
Simple.
Family.
And the simple good tricks is worth your investment of your time today, you know. So the dish like this, right? See?
How does everybody's look at home? Have you plated yours up? I want to do.
Nice.
Ooh, awesome. Nice. Okay, I'm going to switch to the gallery. That looks awesome. Oh, it's hard to see. Let's tilt the screen down. Let's see. Wow, that looks amazing. Nice. That's great. Yay.
Good. Excellent.
Wow, that looks so great. Nice. Look at those cucumber candles. That's awesome. So yeah, we will always send all of you emails about our upcoming classes. You'll be the first to know about them. So thank you, everybody. Your dishes look amazing. I hope you enjoy them and stay cool, and we will see you again soon. Thank you.